what doesn't kill me only makes me stronger. It's one of my favorite quotes of all time, because it's 100% true, especially for a person like me. I have not ever had a situation where I've literally gotten killed, because case in point, I'm alive. However, I've had many more, an infinite number more, maybe undefined, whatever, more instances, problems, where it didn't kill me, but it was a huge challenge I had to overcome. These are the challenges that make or break us. Maybe they won't kill us, but they will break us. But, think of the Japanese. The Japanese, I'm sure this is like some type of foreigner myth. Maybe it's not even true, but it still stands that when the Japanese break porcelain or any kind of glass or something, or not glass, but porcelain, clay, they repair it with gold. As a result, what comes out is in my opinion, much more beautiful looking piece. It's like art. It's literally art. Muscle can only be built larger and larger by being broken down. Well, yes, you could say that it's tension. Muscle tension is actually what triggers the mechanism behind the fact that muscle actually grows. But if it weren't broken down, there would be no tension for it to be grown in the first place. Whatever. Either way, it still needs to be broken down to be grown anew. We see butterflies. Obviously, you know the story of what butterflies, how they grow into beautiful, beautiful butterflies. The monarch goes into tiny cocoon where every single part of them is made into this goo, to a goo. I'm sure you've heard about the cocoon part, but I'm sure you haven't heard of the goo part. They turn into goo, literal goo, like sludge inside that cocoon. It's really interesting to look up like what they look like. How are they even still the same organism at that point? The only same thing, or the only similar thing between them, is just that obviously the DNA and obviously the cells, but it's just that the only similar thing is that it's something almost, well, I'll hold on to that thought until maybe tomorrow. But point still stands that to be built greater, you need to be broken down. When I look at my life, will I be the type of person to break down and never be built back up into something greater? Or will I be someone who, when gets broken down, gets built into something even stronger? And butterflies, muscle, they're all very almost simplistic representations of what I'm trying to convey. But you look at every single part of your life, bones even have the same thing as muscles do. It's a very common thing in MMA to have bone conditioning. It's a very common thing in, say, learning. Learning is a good example too. Learning is one of the best examples, actually. You break down the model into bite-sized chunks that you eat obviously through your ears or by seeing, of course. Either way, you consume that knowledge into bite-sized chunks, make it greater into something that's inside your head, that it's indescribable to a robot. It's indescribable to maybe aliens or something that can't understand that. It's indescribable how fun, how enjoyable that is to just make something greater by breaking things down. I mean, that's how our gut digests too. That's why when people say, I'm learning something, I need to digest it into smaller, bite-sized portions. It's literally the same thing, the exact same thing with your mind. So, the point of this video is to not be afraid of the challenges that you face every day. You have to enjoy them, because that's the beauty of it all. That's the beauty of learning. That's the beauty of digesting food and eating it into something that could be so enjoyable to eat, obviously. It's the most beautiful part of, well, if you look around me, this forest, that large, all these large trees were once the nutrients in the dirt, the nutrients in the air that used to be plants or animals before. I, like every single one of you, will die at some point in my life. Or, I'm not sure if that's technically correct to say at some point in my life, because that's the part where my life ends, so it's kind of odd to think about that, but regardless, the end of my life, whether it be decomposing a year later, 10 years later, instantly, like in cremation, or in the case of those really rich, really interesting ways of being buried where they put a metal casket over you so you decompose really, really, really slowly, and embalming too. In that case, it's probably over a way longer time period. Regardless, over a long enough time period, we all get decomposed. But we may grow into something larger than ourselves. We may grow into something larger than ourselves. That kind of thing makes me okay with dying. I used to be so afraid of dying, like, oh, I don't want this to ever end. But whatever you believe in, this life in particular, will end at some point. I don't think any major religions really argue that. I don't believe any religion can argue that at all. My ear's really itchy, sorry. Even believe it's Buddhism where they teach the cycles of life, where they keep going over and over and over. It's just a constant cycle of suffering, and to reach full enlightenment means that you end that cycle of suffering, which is just being reincarnated over and over. regardless, the life you're in right now still is going to end at some point. Now, whether that means that you reincarnate at some point, that may never be proven. Regardless, you'll be made into something greater. So don't be afraid of being broken down, because you will always be made into something greater. Ciao.